YouTubers, gamers, and moviegoers, what's going on, guys? I'm the Messiah, this is Messiah Entertainment, and today we are reviewing Valerian and the City of 1,000 Planets. Now, guys, this brand new science fiction film is from Luc Besson. It's based off the old comic book Valerian and Laureline, which I guess, according to some of you guys who responded, and I think one of the reactions I did, said it actually kind of inspired other things like Star Wars that came much later. So I was kind of interested in seeing this. You know, I always love to give these movies the benefit of the doubt because, you know, I'm just such a huge science fiction fan, and anytime I see a brand new world that, you know, we may be able to just sink our teeth into, I get kind of excited. My ears perk up and I say, let's give it a shot. Now, a lot of people around me said this could end up being like another Jupiter Ascending, where the world looks interesting and stuff like that. Visually it looks great, but just the story was kind of lacking. I said, let's give it a chance. Now, what ended up happening? I guess they were kind of right. I mean, I'm not gonna say I was wholeheartedly into this. I was cautiously optimistic, but I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, this movie is not terrible. However, I just wasn't able to get into it as much as I think I would have liked to. Now, the movie is like obviously visually beautiful. The special effects that goes into this thing, nothing short of amazing. It's a great brand new world with interesting things going on left and right visually. Not even just talking about the special effects and the graphics, but just the ideas of some of the stuff that's going on in here. Like in one scene, there's this virtual world who, and on the face of looking at it with the naked eye, it just looks like a desert, but when you put on these goggles, it turns into this whole other world, and it's not like it's just virtual reality. It's literally another place that you're in, and some aliens can only see on that like plane of existence. Meanwhile, humans need these glasses specifically to be able to enter that realm. It was a really interesting idea, and I never heard or thought of something like that before. Not sure how much of all this stuff was in the comic books originally, so I guess it was technically isn't original, but to see it come to life on the big screen was an interesting idea, and I did kind of like a lot of those aspects. There's a lot of interesting, cool creature designs and stuff like that in here. And I liked all of that. There's different aspects of the city, obviously different cultures and stuff like that, different sort of things. And I liked all of those things. So I think that was mostly where most of my positives were. However, it's kind of a double-sided coin in terms of all the cool stuff you can see in this world. While there is a lot of great, awesome stuff, some cool creatures, some scary creatures, some awesome creatures, it's a lot being thrown at you in just one film. There's so many different alien creatures. I don't really know what any of their names were. If that's important, I don't really know. However, there was just so much thrown at you. There's this place called Alpha, and it's like a bunch of different races on that place, and a bunch of different sections of the place, and it's all given to you in a few minutes, and then it starts off on this other planet that gets pretty much destroyed because of all this, all the crashing debris that's coming onto Earth, onto their planet, and then we meet our main characters. You know what I mean? There's just a lot being thrown at us, and I feel like such a short time. The movie's only about 2 hours, I think 17 minutes. With big movies like this, where I feel like you're introducing a brand new world, I feel like you need longer than that. Movies like Lord of the Rings, I feel like they need, like that 3-hour timeline to be able to establish us into all these different characters, and to really just establish us into the world. Now, I'm not sure how long the original Star Wars is, so maybe I'm wrong. However, I would say there wasn't as much thrown at us in that first original Star Wars as there was here. There's so much just visually and information-wise being given to us in such a short amount of time. I think this movie could have probably been a bit longer in terms of just getting us into the world, or maybe just showing us a bit less. Some things, I guess, we didn't need to know all the aspects of the this Alpha planet thing. We only needed, I feel like, know some of the things that were directly affecting the story. Sometimes some things were just thrown at us just to kind of, I guess, build up the world and the universe, but I don't really think a lot of that was necessary. Now, in terms of the story, it was interesting, but again, I don't feel like I was able to dive into this as much as I would have liked. Like when I play, for example, Mass Effect, I'm invested into that world. That's a science fiction world where I'm into the whole idea of the Alliance, the Turian hierarchy and everything. But again, it comes back to this whole thing of Mass Effect has like 30 plus hours to explain to us what all the different areas of the Presidium are that you can, or the Citadel are, that you can explore for a long ass time, as opposed to just, giving a quick, 2-3 minute explanation. You're not able to get into the whole world, you're just kind of having it thrown at you for a few minutes. So I think that's probably why I couldn't get as deep into the world as I would have liked. Now, in terms of just what the story and what they're going after, it wasn't too bad. I found the beginning, I would say, just a tad bit slow, and I was hoping the movie would pick up after a while. However, the movie did, after a certain point, things did start to kick off. And I found it really interesting, especially when they went to some of these alien worlds. There's some really cool stuff that happens there. I've got to say the ending was a bit predictable. It starts to go towards a certain way, and you're kind of like, okay, this will probably be how it ends up. Now, I'm not sure if the comic book went this exact way and how much this is related to the comic book. Maybe one of you guys can tell me. However, I would say that I like, it was some good parts in the storyline, but I feel like certain parts were slow and the ending was definitely a bit too predictable. Now, the characters, in terms of character development, a lot of stuff in the beginning is kind of given to us through exposition, which is kind of noticeable. Like some of these things, it's like you definitely would not say that to the person like you've known your entire life. You know what I mean? And there's this love story that's kind of going on. That's, I don't know. I just wasn't 100% on the whole thing. I don't know. And then certain characters are introduced throughout the story, some of the side characters, and they really don't have that much, impact on the rest of the story in terms of one of the characters, slight spoiler alert, ends up dying. I won't say who, but there's a death scene and you really just don't care because you've just met the character not too long ago. So, the whole death thing just kind of seems out of left field, and it doesn't really leave much of an impact. Plus, the character wasn't that interesting anyway, so it seems like they had a bit of a backstory for her that was in the mind of the character, but it was like they didn't explain it to us all the way. So unfortunately, that character I don't think hit as hard as it should have. Now, in terms of the acting and stuff like that, I don't know what it is, but some of it seemed kind of stiff, like on that Star Wars prequels level of stiff. Now, some of it I understand because, they're on this, military mission, and these are military trained people, so they're kind of just, doing the straight up and yes sir, no sir, and that's just kind of, they're a hard ass. So I kind of was able to give it a bit of the benefit of the doubt. However, it was so reoccurring, it's like, I don't know. It's just, I wish they had been a bit looser with their words and, just been a bit more at ease, you know what I mean? It just felt a little stiff of the acting sometimes. On most of the characters, except for, I would say, Dane DeHaan? He did a pretty good job in the lead. He was about the most convincing one out of the entire bunch. The main antagonist of the movie was very kind of stereotypical, like this evil military guy, the mission, and I'm a military man, and civilian lives do not matter, and the mission, and it's something we've kind of seen before in other action films and stuff like that. At the end of the day, I'd say definitely probably go check this movie out, especially if you're a fan of the original comic book. See what you think about it. But I wouldn't say this is, anything like the biggest property of the year that's gonna just make your jaw drop and just say, wow. It's not, I don't think it'll do that for you. Or at least it didn't do it for me. I'm always gonna give these science fiction films the benefit of the doubt and always try to check them out, because if it does end up being that next thing, that next Star Wars for this young generation, I definitely want to support it right off the back. But I just have to say I don't think this one's gonna be it. Well, the story just wasn't all the way there for me. The visuals are absolutely amazing. You know, some of the sound design on here is pretty dope too. A lot of really cool, interesting ideas in the movie. However, I think at the end of the day, it just, I don't know, I wasn't able to really get me so invested into the universe that some of my more favorite universes, science fiction universes, and even fantasy universes like Lord of the Rings, to Star Wars, to Star Trek, to Mass Effect, you know, it just didn't grab me like those worlds grabbed me. Now, if this movie was a bit longer and they allowed, and maybe they shed off some of the unnecessary information and just focused on the characters and, you know, maybe the specific plot of this movie, maybe I would have been sucked into this world if maybe we had explored a bit more of the sections that they went throughout, because there were some interesting sections of that big space station they're on. I think it would have been more interesting, and I think maybe they could have sucked me into a bit more, but you know, they shrunk it down to 2 hours 17 minutes, and there was a lot of, I would say personally, unnecessary aspects to it. You know, I don't know why these big, you know, space movies, you know, are so short. I would say go a little bit longer. You know, you could have spent more time building up the universe, but I don't know, that's just me. I didn't hate the movie, but it wasn't amazing either. It was just kind of okay. I would say definitely go check it out though. But that's just my opinion. I'm sure you guys got your own. Let me know in the comment section down below. What did you guys think of Valerian and the City of 1,000 Planets? Did you love it? Did you hate it? As always, you guys can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and Twitch. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe, guys. Please check me out on my other channel, Directors JXM. We got cool skits and short films for you guys, including To Kill a Hero, a web series that I did not too long ago. Be sure to check that out. Run the channel with my boy Johnny Lee. He has his own channel on Jake's B Entertainment. Be sure to check that out. Anyway, that's it for today, guys. I'm the Messiah. This is Messiah Entertainment. I will see you guys next time. Peace.